Hello, my name is Roberto. I'm from Brescia, Italy, and I support Sunderland. FTM!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Black Cats Chat, the Sunderland AFC International Fans Podcast. My name is Lee Thirkell. I'm from the Bilbao Black Cats, and today I'm joined by another lads fan who lives abroad, and this time it's Dermot Ledwith, who is in Madrid. Good evening, Dermot.
Good evening, Lee. Nice to speak to a fellow Spanish Macam.
Cheers, mate. Lovely. And well, yesterday we had a match against Preston. 5,000 plus Sunderland fans went there and they saw a 0-0 draw, which wasn't ideal. We'll get onto that shortly, but Dermot, it's your first time on the podcast, so I'd love you to tell your Sunderland story, please.
Yeah, I mean, my Sunderland story is pretty simple. I live in Madrid now. I've lived in Madrid for over 25 years, but I'm Sunderland born and bred. Went to school in Sunderland and went to match in Sunderland as a kid. And then got to 18, left for university, and as I always say, I've never gone back, but I mean, I do go back. I'm back quite often, but got my family there. My mother's still in Sunderland, so I go back and get the match when I can. Go to the odd away game as well, but I live in Madrid and lived there for, as I say, over 25 years. So loads of football in Spain, obviously, that I've always been a big fan of, and but you never lose your first love, your first team, and your roots. So yeah, I'm still firmly behind them and following everything on a day-to-day basis and getting to games when I can. So from like yourself up in Bilbao, I'm the same in Madrid, and yeah, there's quite a few people in Madrid over the years that I've met. I've bumped into people or been passed on to people from the northeast or just Sunderland fans in general, or you bump into people in bars and stuff like that, and watching the match. So yeah, it's just part of your blood, isn't it? So you've got to do it. It's part of your week watching Sunderland, and we're not doing too bad at the moment, so it's makes things better.
Yeah, and growing up, Dermot, in Sunderland, what were your early childhood memories?
Of going to the match,
Yeah,
I was thinking about this recently, and so I was born in 1973. Great year,
good year,
obviously.
that, innit? Yeah.
I was born in February, so I was about 3 months old, 1973, when we got to Wembley. Apparently, my mum took me to Backhouse Park when I just wanted to sit and watch the game, but apparently, anyhow, I was crying, so she took me to park. So I missed all that, but I question people always ask your first ever match, and I can't remember because I was so young, I don't think I can remember. So I think I was there as like a 4 or 5 year old in like 1977, 1978, 1979, one of them three. Certainly by 1979, I'll have been at Roker Park. Um, I remember people like Barry Siddle and Bob Lee and that era. So I should check it out, but I reckon it'll be 1977, 1978, possibly, one of those two. And I can't remember what the first game was, but my dad used to take us to the with me brother to the clock stand paddocks and stood there right at the front and remember that. I do have a vivid memory of that. But my dad was a big football fan, so he took us everywhere. He took us to Hartlepool and Middlesbrough and even to the other lot up the road, Newcastle, as a kid. So we used to go to loads of games from that, but I can't remember what my first ever game was. But from like 6 to 16, obviously, I remember going to loads of matches. But yeah, so when my dad was Irish, so we had the unfortunate thing in my house of me and my brother. Because my dad was Irish, I grew up going to Sunderland. My dad was a Sunderland fan. He came over to Sunderland in the 50s. Loved Charlie Hurley, loved Len Shackleton, talked about them all the time, and loved football and took us to the matches and everything. But my brother grew up black and white,
Oh no.
so he's still, black and white on the dark side. One of the few people in Sunderland who, went the other way. It's a bit
Yeah.
strange, really, when you tell people, but I always put it down to the fact that my dad was Irish. And he wasn't a proper Sunderland dad, a Northeast dad who,
Yeah.
beat it into you and gave you that kind of upbringing. So yeah, so still have a bit of banter with my brother on a weekly basis almost when certainly when we win and they lose. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you
he's
got have you got a Lee Howie-esque song for him or not?
well, he went to school with Lee Howie. He knows him quite well, and Steve Howie was a year above me, so we went to the same school as them two. In fact, one of my childhood memories of watching football was watching my brother play in the school team with Lee Howie, and Lee Howie was the best player in our team in St Aidan's, and the school cup finals were always against a team called Castleview,
Yeah.
and that was Mendonca.
Uh-huh.
So I was seeing them when they were like 14, 15, 16,
Yeah.
Mendonca against Howie. So yeah, I've saw loads of football over the years, watched loads of football, got involved in football in Spain, played football at school, and
Yeah,
and
which brings me on to my next point, Dermot, is that some
yeah.
people might recognize your voice from the telly because if I'm not mistaken, you do the commentary for the Copa del Rey games in Spain in English. Is that right?
I do a bit of that. I got involved in different things in Spain. You know, when you come and live in a foreign country, as you probably know yourself as well, you get involved in all sorts of different things where they need English speakers. And so that one of the things I've commentated on is the Spanish football. Yeah, and I worked for I worked for Real Madrid as well for a number of years. Worked for
Hmm.
Real Madrid TV. So I used to go on there. It's quite funny because I've played pub football all my life and not didn't get to a very good level, but I used to go on as a pundit on Real Madrid TV and wax lyrical about Cristiano Ronaldo and things like that, and say I'm watching Sunderland and playing pub football and things like that. I was qualified to talk about Real Madrid, so I used to commentate on Real Madrid games. As well, and now I still do a little bit of comedy. I'm out of that now, but I've done bits of stuff bits of work in sport over the years, different things about sport, and one of them was to commentate on football matches. So yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah, it's
Absolutely
it's quite
brilliant.
quite
Uh,
interesting.
and one of the things that I'm kind of like pleased about from your help is our research into Athletic Club Bilbao and the links with Sunderland. And
Oh
I
yeah,
remember like there was one time on the Sunderland message board, the Ready to Go message board, you mentioned like a name. You said like, oh, check out the name William Llewellyn Dyer. He was like
oh
played
yeah,
for Bilbao in the early 1900s, and he was from Sunderland. And through that, we discovered loads of links between Sunderland and Athletic. Like his mum was from the Doxford families. She was called Sarah Jane Doxford. And as you know, like the Doxfords in that time, 1800s and early 1900s were massive in shipping, in politics. They were a big figurehead in Sunderland. And no, like thanks to you for that, we found out loads of things and links between Sunderland and Bilbao. I mean, his dad was Welsh. Like he was called William Llewellyn Dyer, but they did a lot of exportation of iron from Bilbao to Sunderland to Cardiff as well. So no, got to say a big thank
I've,
you for that, mate. It's like
no. I've followed what you've been doing. Obviously, we've been in contact over the last couple of years, and I've followed what you've been doing. It's really interesting, and obviously, because I've been in Spain for years, and you have, and it always comes up that this red and white shirt and why the Bilbao wear it, and I think you've dug into all this as you said, and I've always believed as well that it obviously had came from that industrial mining background, obviously, because there's a lot of links between the Northeast and Bilbao. And I've got a friend in Madrid who's a massive Bilbao fan. He's actually from Hull, but he's a big Athletic Bilbao fan as well. He's a football journalist as well.
yeah, that'll be Paul, right?
Uh,
Paul Giblin.
Paul Giblin,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah. I know Paul.
he does a bit of commentary on the Spanish football as well, so it's a small world down here anyhow. He's a massive Bilbao fan, and I think he had this PDF of this book about the history of Bilbao, or I shared it with him, or he shared it with me, or something. But I got into reading it, and it was this mention about this Llewellyn fella who was from Sunderland. So the links are undeniable, and you've obviously gone on and done a bit more digging and found out about that, and it's great to see. And good luck with pushing on with that and
Well,
getting it more.
yeah, hopefully. I mean, we've presented all we can at the minute. I mean, the Sunderland link was there until 2010. And in 2010, when it was the 100th anniversary, the historian from Atletico Madrid at the time said, no, it's not Sunderland, it's actually Southampton. And the club just took it as gospel, and they accepted it. And they changed the thing. But we've, like, through the research, we've totally um, shut down that theory because it doesn't make any sense. There's no reference of boats going there. The guy who they said went there was actually in Bilbao training with the first team. So they've just basically taken different stories, merged them into one, and created a fictional story that doesn't really exist. But we're going to do a big piece on that in January, actually, because it's the 115th anniversary in January next year. So we're going to do a piece on that as well. But anyway, Dermot, thanks for that. We're going to go to the match yesterday then, Dermot. So yesterday, the lineup, we changed. Isidore, he went to the left wing. Tommy Watson came on the right for Patrick Roberts, and Mundell got left out as well. Joe was suspended. Aaron Connolly up front. It was a big surprise, wasn't it? All those changes.
It was because he he hasn't really changed the team much up to now, has he? He's kind of gone with his best 11 as far as he can, but then he's getting a few injuries and he's getting suspensions with Joe being suspended. I think it's good as well. When I saw it last night, I thought, he's got to blood these players and get them moving as well, because further down the line we're going to need them. We'll need them now. So I thought it was a good idea. They've got 3 games in a week. They've got another game coming up against Coventry, so it's squad rotation, isn't it? They've been doing it for years everywhere. So, he's got to trust in his players. We're not going to go up with 11, 12 players. So I thought it was a good idea when I saw the team, and we weren't great in the first half, really, but we were better in the second half. And I think it's a sport now where you need 14, 15 players on the night. They're all involved. You need to make 4 substitutions or 3 or 4 subs in the second half, and they change games. And I think they've been changing games for us, and it just didn't quite go for us last night. But we've got a couple of players rested who can start on Saturday now. So thought Tommy Watson had a good start really in the first half. He only had little glimpses of him, but lovely touches, and he was up against a big, experienced, dirty fullback, and he just looks a kid as well. But he seems to be exciting. When he came on a couple of weeks ago as well, he looked exciting as well. So that bodes well, and I'm not sure about Isidore on the left. We're still yet to work out exactly how good he is through the centre. But when he came, the talk was that he's played a lot on the left, so we'll see how that one bears out. But you've got to give Connolly a game as well and get him bed in and give him some minutes and get him as part of the squad.
I think like those players though, like I think Watson and Connolly, they were lacking like match sharpness, I think, for the first team competitive action, and they haven't had that in recent games. I don't know, they've not been getting enough minutes in them, I think, from the bench. And I think when you haven't got that match sharpness, if you start a match, you just off it, aren't you?
I think so, yeah. But the pair of them were making the debuts last night,
Yeah.
so that's going to happen, isn't it? I mean, that was literally the first starts for the team. So yeah, good to get a few more players involved. It's going to be a squad thing that gets us up. So I think any of the people who think we can't get up is because we haven't got a big enough squad. So if he can get something out of these kind of fringe players now, and there'll be more to come in. So I think it's a positive thing. last night it wasn't the best performance, but it was again it was a draw away from home, like we got on Saturday with 10 men. So it's kept the run going, 7 unbeaten, and it's only a positive thing.
Yeah. Right. So that first half, then, I mean, it wasn't a great start, wasn't it? I mean, they had 60% possession, we had 40. Should Mepham have been sent off, do you reckon? Was it a red card? Yes.
No, no, I don't think so. I think the same thing happened in the second half as well on Isidore, didn't it? As well,
Yeah.
their defender did almost exactly the same foul, and he didn't even get a yellow card when he was already on one. So don't think so. No, I think they had the better chances. They weren't a bad team. I expect they'll be mid-table by the end of the season. I wouldn't, I don't think they were a bad team at all. Um, they had the lad from Sunderland playing as well, didn't they? Up front, he looked decent in the first
Greenwood,
half.
yeah, Mason Greenwood, yeah, he was not
Yeah, they
Mason
had
Greenwood. What's his name? Can't remember his name. Greenwood, Sam Greenwood.
Sam Greenwood, innit? And the
Yeah.
fella on the left was good from, I think he's from Aston Villa on loan. So, there's no easy games in this league. So,
Well, I
no, I
mean, yeah,
wasn't expect
Preston did
wasn't
dominate. I mean, they had 7 shots in the first half, and we only had two, so we just couldn't get started at all. I thought like Rig was probably our best player in the first half. I think he was like trying to make things happen, wasn't he? But um,
I think so. Trey Hume, I thought, got forward as well. A couple of occasions when we did get forward. But yeah, we didn't. First half, we weren't as good. Definitely not. In the second half, things did improve when, as we said before, we were able to make a change and bring a few players on.
yeah, well, the second half was better. I mean, the percentage increased a little bit to 41, but not much. But we had more shots in the second half. We had 4 shots to their two. But I think one thing that surprised me was how often Preston were fouling, and they were getting away with a lot of decisions, weren't they? Like the referee was keeping these cards in his pocket for them. They made like 9 fouls in the first half, and then 11 fouls in the second half. And I was like, do you think that we need to kind of like toughen up a little bit?
Well, if you toughen up, you lose that little bit of pace and quality that we've got as well. We've got some little Lionel Messi's out there within Chris Rigg and Patrick Roberts came on in the second half. The close footwork's pretty good, so you got to base it on one. You got to base your game on something, and we've based our game on quick passing and quick movement and little triangles and. So yeah, I mean, it looks as if we're going to try and play our way out of the championship this season. So it's going to be interesting. But I thought that you go back a couple of games. That away game at Luton was an amazing win, and that was just two little bits of quality from Mundell and Chris Rigg, and we just didn't quite get that last night. But I thought that's what would have won it, a little bit of quality, but we didn't get it. But we weren't far away, I don't think.
I
Patrick
mean,
Roberts had a shot in the second half towards the end, could have gone in. Couple of
like
chances.
people have been saying like this comment on social media quite a lot, saying like this match last year we would have lost it. Right, we've been hearing that quite a lot last few years. I mean, last few matches
Well, we,
like with
well, we
QPR,
lost quite a lot last
Preston.
year, didn't we? So
Yeah,
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 we
we
were
did.
we were losing all them kind of games. No, we've definitely got organised. We haven't. I mean, we haven't conceded a goal in 3 games.
Yeah, but
So we're all
9 clean sheets in 14.
yeah, and that's a lad who's just come in goal. So he's only played 3 games and he's keeping clean sheets. So there's loads of positives from
Yeah,
that
but
0-0 draw last night.
do you think it's a little bit of a concern the performances in the away matches? Like defensively, I think we're sound, but like attacking wise in the last 2 games, I mean, we haven't scored against low opposition. The Luton game, we scored two, but we weren't brilliant. I thought we were quite lucky to get that win. Like we dug in, but again, it was like because of the defense and 2 moments of like quality. And then apart from that, we played against Hull. We got a 1-0 win for Isidore's goal. We got a bit of luck from the referee. But then we lost against Plymouth. We lost against Watford. Away performances aren't up to the standard as the home performances, are they not? Is that not kind of like a bit of a worry, you know, think?
Um, I was at that Plymouth game. I was back in the UK and I was in London and I went down to Plymouth. got a ticket, and I we were it was were we 1-0 up at half time? We were 1-0 up at half time against
Yep.
Plymouth, and I
Yep.
was thinking and Plymouth were putting the ball out of play. We were in complete control. I was thinking there's no way we're going to lose this. And the second half we did. We lost control, and the game went a bit crazy, and we ended up losing 3-2. Um, Conceded 3 goals, but I think since then we've hardly conceded any goals away from home. We'll conceded one against Luton. We haven't conceded any this week, so I think he's really there's a lot of how we've done this season, and a lot of the plaudits have to go to the manager, to Regis Lebris, for where he's got us and how he's organised us and how and we're not conceding. We're very difficult to beat, so we've only lost 2 games all season. So if
Yep.
we can keep that up
Yep.
over, about what is it, about a quarter of the way through, is it? Or how
14
many games
games.
we play now? 14
14.
games out. Two in 14 is a pretty good record. If we
Yep.
can keep that up for, well, we're a third of the way through because it's 44 games, isn't it? So
46 games, yeah.
46 or 40, yeah, exactly, almost a third of the way through, almost exactly. If we only lose 4 more games this season, we'd be going up.
Yep.
If we
Uh,
keep that up again. So
and
it's
that's
down.
our strong point, isn't it? The defense is definitely the strong point. I think I don't even feel concerned about our defense. I think I've got enough trust in that back four to keep a clean sheet or to keep us in the game. It's just the other end of the pitch. I mean, we started all right at the start of the season. We had some good wins, scored some good goals, but like the last 3 away matches or the last 4 matches away, we haven't been as ruthless as we were. I mean, that Oxford game at home, that was like a perfect performance, wasn't it? In possession, we had
Yeah,
total dominance and control of the game, but we've never. I don't think we've had a performance away this season where we've had total dominance or control.
no,
And and
no.
I and
uh,
I reckon that, for example, with a midfield three that we play, like with Dan Neil, Job, and Rig, I think you need to have a bit of more control. And like my only slight concern is that against like lower league teams, we need to kind of like be winning those games. Maybe even if it's just like a goal, 1-0. I think if you drop points against like Preston and QPR at this stage, they could come back and bite you in the ass in the future.
Well, I know what you're saying. I know what you mean, and I'll throw 2 names into the hat there now. Uh, Pierre Ekwa, who's one fella who could sit in front of the defence and give you a bit of stability and maybe let people attack a bit more. And another fellow who do exactly the same things, John Henderson. Um, if anything does come of that, come January, I think those two are both. I don't know if we can get Pierre Ekwa back or if he's even in his thinking. But I saw it mentioned on the message board today, and I kind of agreed. He could have played in that game last night. It would have been and that Luton game might have been a good game for him as well. So it's horses for courses, isn't it? I think, as we said before, it's a squad game, and if we're going to get out of this league this season, we're going to have to use as big a squad as possible. And those 2 players, could still have a role. I mean, might be pie in the sky, and neither of them come back, or come back in both cases. John Henderson's been away for a long time, but it's been mentioned. So,
I'd take it, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, one thing that baffles me is that he hasn't been given certain players like minutes on the pitch, like Alexic. Now he's on the bench every game, signed for a decent wedge of money. He's 18-year-old, but apparently doesn't speak English very well. And he said that he's still like the kind of giving him time to bed in. But surely, like he needs like 5 minutes or 10 minutes here and there, no, like at the end of a match, just to give him that little sense
well,
and the
he's
feeling.
he's given him time. He's on the bench, isn't he? Is that the fellow who's on the
Yeah,
bench?
yeah,
He's
yeah,
been
yeah,
on the bench. Well, but we haven't lost since he's probably come as well. So
yeah. No, that's
you
true.
don't change a losing team, and you don't just throw him in there for no reason. I think he's a very pragmatic, sensible coach. He
Mm.
seems to be, from what we know of him and what we've seen. And you can't complain with being sat at the top of the league after 14 games, only lost 2, and he seems to know exactly what he's doing. I sometimes think some of these foreign coaches coming over, how they're gonna like have the knowledge of the championship. It's a tough league, and but he's just proven that you don't need it. You just need football knowledge. You just need a sound football knowledge and get organised because he's organised that more or less a similar team to what they had last year, which were pretty useless the second half of the season and dropped like a stone to 16th. He's really done amazing work to organise that lot, and the lads are that year older, and obviously the experience and giving them games last year probably helped them. People like Job and Chris Rigg, when people were saying they're too young or they're going to burn them out or take them out of the team, they got their minutes in last year, and now it's reaping the benefits. But I think all the plaudits at the minute to the coach who's doing an amazing job, and if he keeps that up, you never know what might happen this season.
Yeah, no, that's true. And going back to Alexis, I mean, I wouldn't start him, absolutely not. But I think like 10 minutes here and there on the pitch, just to give him that taste of English football. Because I mean, I always think of like Julio Arca when Julio came. He came from Argentina. He didn't speak any English. He was 19-year-old. He just got thrown in on his debut and he scored against West Ham, and the rest is history. You know what I mean? And now
Uh,
he's just like an adopted Mackem, isn't he? The way he talks, he loves it. And I
uh,
think that
uh,
that doesn't really happen nowadays, does it not? Like there's so much care given to players who come from abroad.
well, the Isidore Wilson kind of just turned up, and within 2 weeks he's scoring goals and he's laughing and enjoying. He's only a couple of years old, and he's only 23,
20,
24.
23,
So
24, but he's got a grasp of English, so I think that helps, doesn't it? I think nowadays
yeah,
the club, I mean, Mowbray was the same. Mowbray didn't like to play players who didn't speak English. I mean, that was the case with Jewis and Bennett. Um, didn't
I
speak much
reckon.
English.
I mean, as I said before, I played pub football and I played over here for years in an international team in Madrid, and football's a language of its own. You can play football with people who you don't speak the same language to. So yeah, I agree with you on that way. Yeah, if he's good enough, put him in the team. But maybe he just doesn't think he's good enough.
Yeah,
And that's another thing about Regis Lebris. He's ruthless as well because he obviously didn't think Ekwa was good enough,
Bar
and he did.
Aushish, yeah,
And now Sheesh as well,
Pembele,
and they're all French. So
yeah, yeah,
you think any foreign coach goes somewhere and you think he picks his favourites, or he'd look more favourably on his own nationality, and he hasn't at all. He came in straight away, looked at what he wanted, and he's decided that Ekwa wasn't what he needed because he doesn't play that fast, quick passing game that we're playing now. So, I said before that maybe he's an option to bring back, but I also think he got that right, and that's part of the reason why we're doing so well.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Right then, so our next match is on Saturday against Coventry, who this morning sacked their manager, Mark Robbins, which was like
yeah,
a massive surprise, even to the Coventry fans. I mean, I've got a Coventry supporting mate at work, and he's gutted. He's absolutely gutted, and he said like even the
he's
Coventry fans just didn't expect it, because apparently he took over Coventry when they were like bottom half of League Two.
he's been there a few years, hasn't he?
He was there for 7 years, and
7 year. That's
seven
a
year,
long time nowadays. Nobody
yeah.
hangs around 7 years nowadays.
So like they're absolutely gutted, and they reckon George Boateng, ex-Middlesbrough player, and Aston
All
Villa,
right,
they reckon because he was the first team coach, they reckon he'll probably come in and be the interim coach on Saturday against us. So anyway, we've got that coming up on Saturday. Simon Moore, Dermot, he's had 3 games fantasy in for Anthony Patterson. He's kept 3 clean sheets. He hasn't had the great deal to do, but what he has had to do, he's done it all right. So they reckon that Patterson could be fit for Saturday, or they might just like leave him and give him a rest for the international break. But either way, does he come straight back in, or does he have to sit on the bench and wait his turn?
it's a tough one, isn't it? Because he's kept 3 clean sheets, but you're right, he hasn't had too much to do. Did he make? He did make a good save, didn't he, last night, just
Yeah,
before half
yeah,
time?
yeah. He tipped
Made
it
a
over,
great
didn't he?
save.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it'd be hard on the lad after playing 3 games, but I like Anthony Patterson as well. I think he's coming on. I think he's got better this season. I think he's coming out for crosses more and looks more dominant and looks, um, he gets a bit of stick for the ball at his feet, but I saw him take on a centre forward the other week on almost on his goal line. He kind of shimmied past him. So that's the modern game that the goalkeepers have to play. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's not my decision, but I would say if I had to make a decision, I would go back with Anthony Patterson, get him back in the team.
Yeah.
But
And I,
it
I reckon
wouldn't be.
upstairs as well. I reckon upstairs as well. They'll be telling Lebris he probably Patterson has to play because of his age. He's a young lad. He's got more value than Simon Moore. I think that'd be kind of like in the thinking as well, wouldn't it? Like
Do you
Simon
reckon
Moore.
that?
I
Do you reckon
reckon.
that's
Well,
how it works? So, do you reckon Regis Lebris listens to people when picking his team? I don't know.
I think when it comes to that, because like Simon Moore is like 34, isn't he? I mean, let's be honest. He's a backup keeper. He's not a first team keeper. I don't think.
Well, I think
And
he's proven that he's a good backup keeper that we might need again this season. If he doesn't play again, if he gets shunted out straight away for Patterson, we'll see. We'll
yeah,
see. It could
but
be. I would think Anthony Patterson will start that,
yeah,
and you might be right that there might be a bit of influence. I mean, there definitely was last year with Job playing all them games.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
What I couldn't understand last year as well was the centre forward from Chelsea getting games. It's
Burst up.
ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
absolutely ridiculous at times. He was looking awful and playing again next week. And there certainly seemed to be some sort of agreement there or some sort of interference from upstairs. But I don't know if Regis Lebris would be listening to too many directors of football. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But
Hopefully
I
not.
think
Hopefully not.
he'll have his own mind, I'm sure.
Right. So anyway, as I was saying, we got Coventry this Saturday. Coventry in recent history hasn't been a good match for us, has it not? We haven't had a win for a long time. Do you know which year was the last time we won against them?
No, when was that?
2007. We beat them
Jesus,
2-0 at the Stadium of Light. Goals from Carlos Edwards and Dwight York.
that's a while ago now, isn't it?
That's a while ago,
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm looking at our
I mean, we
history.
didn't. We mustn't have played them for a few years, so surely in all
Yeah,
that
no,
time.
that we played them like 2007, and the next time was 2018, which
Oh
was
well.
with the famous 5-4 defeat at the Stadium of Light.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I mean, we've either lost or we've drawn against them. So it's not a good match. It's not a good match for
Well,
us, is it not?
you reckon there's someone I was reading today? Someone saying there's such a thing as new coach bounce or whatever.
Yeah,
The,
new
the
manager
new fella,
bounce.
new manager coming back in, and but did they stop playing for Mark Robbins maybe, and now they're gonna suddenly play? I don't know. We never seem to get any new manager bounce, do we? When
No,
we've changed enough managers over the years, so
but
I
wasn't
don't
it
know.
like last year we played Coventry in the first game, Michael Beale, and we got stuffed 3-0. I think that was.
Well, there you go. There's our bloody new manager bounce for you.
All right.
Um, no, but the form book says, we're unbeaten in seven. They got beat last night. He's lost the manager, so they've obviously got some poor results. I thought they'd turned the corner though, and he was getting some
Yeah.
good results. So
Well, according to my mate at work, they've probably got a better squad than last season. Because he said last
yeah,
season, the season before, they had like a good 11, but they didn't have depth. He said this season they got a good squad, but he didn't seem to know his best team. And he was tinkering quite a lot trying to find his best team, and he said he couldn't find it, and he's obviously paid the price for that. But
yeah.
anyway, this Saturday, then would you go back with Mundle and Roberts on the wings, and Isidore back at number 9?
I think so. Yeah, after that first half last night, I think it's that is his best team, and he probably knows that's his best team. Um, yeah, I've been surprised with Mundle this season. I slowly realised why we sold Jack Clark because we had a ready-made replacement.
Hmm.
I hadn't paid too much attention. I'd probably give up watching some of the games last year, back towards the end when Mundle was getting a bit of time, and didn't realise he was so good. So that was a pleasant surprise this season when he's almost a replica of Jack Clark, isn't he?
Yeah,
Comes
yeah,
in,
yeah.
comes in on the inside, curls a few shots into the bottom corner.
I,
He's
I I reckon he's got faster feet than Jack Clark. I would say that.
yeah, yeah. And
Anyway, Dermot,
I
we've got like a minute left, so before you go, I want to get your prediction for Saturday.
Saturday, let's go with what happened against Oxford. Just a nice, easy 2-0 win. Maybe, we're just dominating teams in the Stadium of Light. We haven't. How many goals we conceded at home? Is it just
Oh, I don't
just
know.
that just that one game where Leeds got a couple against us? Is that the only game
Leeds.
we've? That's the only game we've conceded a goal, I think. It up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, because until that Leeds game, we hadn't conceded a goal, and since then we've beat Oxford. We haven't played many games at home, have we?
Well, I mean, we've conceded nine at home. Sorry, 9 in total. Nine goals in total. But anyway, so you're going to go for a 2-0 win. All right.
2-0. Yeah, I think we're building the fortress at the Stadium of Light. So long may it continue.
Cheers, Dermot, mate. Thanks a lot for your time this evening, Dermot. I'll see you soon.
Bother.
How are the lads?
All right. Cheers, Lee. How are the lads?
Hello, my name is George. I'm from Italy and I support Sunderland.